The war in Ukraine has tested the limits of transatlantic unity, revealing both strengths and vulnerabilities. The recent suspension of U.S. military aid to Ukraine, following a contentious meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky, has sent shockwaves through the international community. This unexpected turn of events has raised concerns about the United States' commitment to containing Russian aggression. The suspension of aid, even if temporary, has created a vacuum that Russia has been quick to exploit, intensifying its military operations. The timing of this decision, amidst a renewed Russian offensive, has fueled speculation that the United States may be wavering in its support for Ukraine. The implications of this transatlantic rift extend far beyond the immediate conflict in Ukraine, undermining NATO's credibility and raising questions about the future of U.S. leadership. As the international community grapples with the consequences, the European Union has emerged as a critical player, stepping up to fill the void left by the United States. In a historic move, the European Union has unveiled an unprecedented 800 billion EUR aid and rearmament plan to bolster Ukraine's defenses. This monumental package, the largest in the EU's history, represents a significant escalation of the bloc's commitment to Ukraine's security. A substantial portion of the aid, approximately 150 billion EUR, will be directly allocated to strengthening Ukraine's defense capabilities, including advanced air defense systems, artillery, and drones. The EU also plans to invest heavily in rebuilding Ukraine's defense industrial base, ensuring a steady supply of weapons and ammunition. Beyond military hardware, the EU aims to assist Ukraine in building a more resilient and modern defense infrastructure, including fortifying border defenses and enhancing cybersecurity. This ambitious plan is not just about providing aid, it represents a strategic investment in European security, aiming to deter further Russian aggression. The EU's decision to take the lead in supporting Ukraine marks a watershed moment, demonstrating its growing geopolitical ambitions. The EU's decision to launch this massive aid and rearmament plan is deeply intertwined with its ambition to achieve strategic autonomy. The war in Ukraine has served as a stark reminder of the EU's vulnerabilities and the urgent need to bolster its own defense capabilities. For decades, European security has been largely underpinned by NATO and the United States military might. However, the changing geopolitical landscape has prompted the EU to rethink its reliance on Washington and embark on a path towards greater self-reliance in defense. The EU's vision for strategic autonomy seeks to create a more balanced transatlantic partnership, where the EU is a stronger and more capable ally. By taking the lead in supporting Ukraine, the EU is showcasing its ability to act decisively and independently on the world stage. Fueling the arsenal of democracy, the economic mechanics of the EU's ambitious plan. The EU's commitment to providing Ukraine with such a substantial aid package raises a crucial question. How will this ambitious plan be financed? One key element involves leveraging the European Investment Bank, or EIB, the lending arm of the European Union, to channel funds towards defense companies. To facilitate this, the EU plans to lift existing restrictions on EIB lending to the defense sector, paving the way for increased financial support. In addition to the EIB, the EU intends to establish a new savings and investment association to facilitate capital access for European defense firms. The scale of the aid package may also necessitate a re-evaluation of the EU's budgetary rules, particularly those related to defense spending. This could potentially free up hundreds of billions of euros for defense, providing a significant boost to the EU's ability to sustain its support for Ukraine. While the EU's aid plan for Ukraine represents a significant escalation of support, it is essential to consider the context of Russia's own military buildup. Russia, under President Putin's leadership, has been steadily expanding and modernizing its armed forces, demonstrating a renewed assertiveness on the world stage. Russia's military modernization program has focused on developing advanced weapons systems, such as hypersonic missiles and sophisticated electronic warfare capabilities. However, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine has exposed vulnerabilities in Russia's military, particularly its reliance on outdated equipment and logistical challenges. The EU's aid package for Ukraine aims to exploit these vulnerabilities by providing Ukraine with the weapons and training it needs to effectively counter Russian aggression. The EU's decision to significantly increase military support for Ukraine represents a high-stakes gamble with potentially far-reaching consequences. One potential outcome is that the EU's aid package, combined with continued Ukrainian resistance, could succeed in stalling Russia's advance and forcing Moscow to the negotiating table. A protracted war of attrition could create the conditions for a negotiated settlement that preserves Ukrainian sovereignty. However, there is also a risk that the EU's intervention could escalate the conflict, provoking a more aggressive response from Russia. Moscow could retaliate by intensifying its military operations or expanding the conflict beyond Ukraine's borders. The EU's gamble also carries significant economic risks, potentially straining EU budgets and exacerbating economic challenges within the bloc. The EU's decision to take a more assertive role in the Ukraine conflict marks a pivotal moment in transatlantic relations. The United States, long the dominant force in NATO, now faces a more independent and capable European partner. This shift has the potential to reshape the transatlantic relationship in profound ways. A stronger and more autonomous EU could emerge as a more valuable partner for the United States, capable of sharing a greater burden in addressing global challenges. However, the EU's pursuit of strategic autonomy could also create friction within the transatlantic alliance. The outcome of this transatlantic balancing act will depend on the ability of the United States and the European Union to manage their differences and build on shared interests.